Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all good? Oh, so y'all listen. Let's get into this movie Pieces, and it's on the REMY Network. Shout out to Remy Ma. And listen, if you're gonna watch it, don't go over there expecting no Oscar-worthy performances. Okay, just think Tubi. But it's good. I liked it at least. So let's get into this recap, okay? So it opens with this lady waking up. She gets ready for work. She makes her way to work. She gets to her station. She tries to log in. Her password wasn't working. A lady calls her to the back, and I think she's the store manager. She tells the lady, her name is Maxine, that her monthly reports are down by $55,000 in fraudulent accounts and chargebacks, and 90% of the accounts are under her login. Maxine says, "I'm the best employee y'all have here, and I've been employee of the month for the last 6 months." And the manager was like, "Yeah, but I gotta let you go." She couldn't believe that they were firing her. She was like, "So my word means nothing?" And her manager says, "Girl, you better be glad the police aren't up in here dragging you out, because that's what upper management wanted to happen." So I was like, "No, don't do that. Just terminate her without pay." Maxine says, "Okay, bet. That's what we doing. Since my word and dedication to this company doesn't mean a thing, I bet I'll make y'all struggle more than I'll be struggling." So she walks out, and one of her co-workers is like, "Girl, what's up? Where you going?" But she doesn't respond. She just walks out. Then over at the apartment, we see Seven and her dude. I think his name is Nick, but they call him Rock. They were sitting down watching TV and talking about what they gonna eat. Maxine walks in, and Seven says, "Dang, you home early. Did you get fired or something?" And Maxine is like, "Actually, I did." Oh boy, he stepped out to order them something to eat, but on his way out, he gets a call. He comes back in and tells Seven that he has to make a quick run, but she can take the pieces, and the pieces are the credit cards. So take one of his cards and order something, but he tells her not to order from her phone, order from the burner phone with the burner account. When he leaves, Seven tells Maxine that she know she ain't did no mess like that, because Maxine explained to her why she was home early. She didn't steal from them folks. She then passes Maxine the cards and tells her to order the food. So Maxine is like, "Wait, I gotta check all the cards to see which ones we can use? Like, what is all of this? What do your dude be up to? Because him and his crew don't seem like the brightest bulbs in the box." Seven says, "Well, I watched them do this all day." So the dudes get the numbers, press up fake cards, and they have a runner. The runner does the leg work by going to the stores and stuff like that. But being a runner is dangerous because they could get locked up on the spot if the card, comes back flagged or something. But if they're able to get away with it, they take the merch to the bump guy, the wholesaler, and then they keep the profit. Seven keeps telling Maxine that she knows she can figure it out because she's business savvy and she's smart like that. So Maxine says, "Well, I can't even think straight right now after being accused of stealing and losing my job and all, but I'll think on it." But Seven convinces her to meet up with their friend Nana so they can talk about all of this. Now, I don't know what it is about Seven. Something about her don't sit right. She's just a little dingy. I mean, maybe she just like the pretty girl and that's where it stopped, but I don't know. She might bring some later on. So Rock meets up with his boys trying to see what's the emergency, but there wasn't one. His boys just wanted him outside. And they are a bunch of elf boys. But one of his homeboys, Hitter, because I can't say Illa with a K in the front, tells him that things are looking a little fishy when it comes to the business. He said the math ain't mathing when it comes to the receipts and the product. Rock said he checked the math the other day, but Hitter was like, "But I had the workers following all the drivers and checking all the receipts, and there's always an iPad or an iPhone missing. And within the last 2 months, they've been down 15 bands." Now, mind you, Rock is standing in front of them, and his homeboys are standing in front of him, leaning on the fence. So Rock feels like dude is saying that he was the one stealing. He says, "I don't know. I know you don't think it was me. You know how I roll. I don't play about my business or my money. I don't do liabilities." And dude says, "It is you." But he sticks the dude in the hand who's standing beside him, and he looks down at dude because dude is in pain. He got the man attached to the fence, and he says, "Which hand you steal with, right or left?" Rock is like, "Bro, what are you doing?" How you even know it's him? And he was like, because things didn't start getting funny until you brought him around, and that was 2 months ago. And he was about to take dude out, but Rock tells him, you can't do that here, all out in the open, man, chill out. So Hitler was like, you know what, I'm gonna let you handle it, but if I see him again, I'm gonna handle it. Now over there with the girls, Maxine, Nana, and Seven, they're just hanging out playing Uno. Nana asked Maxine if she wanted her to talk to her manager at the club to see if they can get her on. But Maxine passes on that because she's not about to be shaking for no singles or putting up with folks cutting her hours like they're doing Nana. Seven says things are slow for her too. And even though she's with Rock, that scamming mess, it ain't as glamorous as it looks. It can be hit or miss. And Maxine says it's because the right dudes ain't doing it. And she suggests that they do it. And Seven was surprised because she just told her about it like 5 hours ago. But even if she is serious, it's a male-dominated situation. And they weren't about to let any girls run things. Maxine says, but they ain't gotta know. She know the business is hit or miss, and there's too much fluff in the middle. But she says she can eliminate a lot of that, being that she worked for T-Mobile for years and still has access to the database. That gives her a leg up already. And when working with customers, the first thing you do is pay attention to the customers who have good credit and who they trust with that info. So her game plan is to get the customer's info, wipe out all alerts, apply for new cards, and find out how much is exactly on the card. But they are going to tap into the business accounts, the business credit, not the personal cards. But what stood out to Maxine is Seven saying a lot of the runners get caught up. So they're going to eliminate cards altogether. Because if one goes down, the snitching will start and everybody going to go down. So they're going to go the tap to pay route. That way, the store clerks won't be asking for ID. And she knows someone at T-Mobile who can make some things shake, but to get started, they need money up front. So Maxine is going to ask her brother. He used to be the OG back in the day, but he got out the business, put his money into real estate, and now he's just living a regular smuggler life. Maxine says what she learned from her brother is that the exit plan is just as important as the plan itself. She says she always kept information about clients for the just in case. So Maxine stopped by her brother Sean's house and asked for a loan. And I'm thinking it was going to be something small. And she asked that Mike for 10 bands. He said, you're going to have to pay me back with interest. 12 bands and I'm going to give you a month. But the only way he was going to give her the money is if she was truthful about what she needed it for. So she tells him the plan, and he didn't think that it made any sense because he says even if you have pieces on you, you can get in trouble. There's no easy or safe way to scam. So then she tells him that they'll be using tap to pay, which he thought was smart, but the next issue will be the bump man, because even if you were able to get the merch, every bump man ain't who they say they are. Some of them are undercover detectives, and she didn't think about that. And he told her, don't think for 1 minute that those folks who are saying they're down for this scam right now won't start singing like a bird if they get hemmed up. Maxine said her idea was to create an online store to make it more discreet, but her brother said folks really ain't gonna want to wait for that. So he's gonna hook her up with one of his old connects, and he's gonna give her the money, but she has to run every move by him before she runs a play. He knows she's smart, but it's a dangerous game. Then he quotes DMX and tells her to trust everybody to be themselves, but also trust in the fact that you can see them well. So she says, sort of like if a chick has been a snake, trust her to do snake type of mess. And he says, yeah, but more so trust in your discernment that you can see that they were a snake in the first place. Maxine meets up with Seven and Nana, and she introduces them to Tiffany, who is her connect from T-Mobile. She lets them know that Sean did give them the money, and the first play is to get some profiles so that they'll have enough identities to work with. And she's going to open up some new lines of credit and organize them on an Excel spreadsheet. That way she can tally up how much they can run up. And Tiffany will get them some trap phones. Seven and Nana will handle the shopping. So Seven wanted to know who was going to be their front man, because those folks out there weren't going to respect a bunch of girls. Max says they would if the folks thought Sean was their front man. But Sean, he never agreed to any of that. But Max knew that was the only way Seven would be 10 toes down. So they got to work and she was able to pay Sean back plus his interest within that month. Then we see dude who was stuck in the hand sitting in an interrogation room because he got caught on camera at Target trying to use one of the cards, and he had 10 cards on him. The detective let him know that he was looking at 20 years minimum, and she said when they called her, that was for the big dogs, and it's clear that he's not one of the big dogs. So he says he doesn't know anything, he doesn't know who the cards belong to. So the detective tries to manipulate the situation by telling him that she know he want to get home to his baby, and she know he has a baby because he was caught buying Pampers at the time when he took off running and threw the cards in the bushes. She asks him to give her a name, but then the scene goes black. Then we see Rock and his homeboy Hitter, the one who stuck dude in the hand, dude that's up there in the interrogation room. So their other homeboy roll up and he's asking if they knew about dude getting locked up for trying to buy Pampers. Now listen, the reason I keep saying dude, no boy, and homeboy is because these folks don't have no names. I guess the writer was just interested in the story versus letting us know who these folks are, but we'll figure it out along the way. So Rock says they don't know nothing about nothing because they been cut old boy off. But Mr. Jason Voorhees over here, Hitter, he's giving Rock the side eye. And he's like, I know we didn't give him no cards, so where he get them from? Rock says he don't know. And Hitter feels like he should have took him out that night because if he did, they wouldn't be dealing with none of this right now. Because clearly Rock didn't take care of it. Rock says he's going to talk to his lawyer and they need to get him up out of there because if he's in there any longer, he'll eventually start talking. But dude's like, oh, you ain't got to worry about all that because he already out. And Hitter says, yeah, he snitched. So everybody, you're going to have to lay low because this is about to get bad. Then you hear Max narrating, and she says while Hitter and his crew were having problems, the girls got the hang of it quick. But when you start making money, you could tell who never had any. And Tiffany was the first to smell like new money. So they're over at the Clothes is Optional Club. And baby, Tiffany popping bottles, clothes looking different, everything. Rock and Hitter walk in, but Rock and Seven go sit in the car, and he wants to know what she's been up to because when he comes in off the road, she's never home. She feels like if they stayed together, he wouldn't even have to worry about none of that. But he says he still have things to work out and handle because situation looking a little shaky over that way. They taking a lot of L's, and that's just not something he wants her near. But he says that he notices a change in her from her not being at home, new wardrobe, her friends buying out the bar and throwing money in the club. So immediately he thinks she's messing with somebody else. So she decides to tell Rock that the girls have been working for Sean, scamming for him. And I'm like, no, why would you tell him that? The main thing Maxine said to y'all was that nobody needs to know what y'all will be doing. And Max, you should have never lied on your brother anyway. So Rock want to know how she doing the same thing that she was judging him about. And she said she never judged him and what they're doing is not the same thing. So he asked her how. Seven says we don't use cards. Rock was like, Cap, I just saw Tiffany pass the bar girl a card. And Seven says, well, maybe that was her actual card. And he said, unless her name is Maria, I ain't buying it. Now Seven is looking worried. So he says, if you wanted to do something like that, you could have came to me. And she was like, to be a worker? No, I'm good. Because what we got going on is different and we make way more money. Rock is processing all of this. And then he says, wait, Sean is back? She was like, that doesn't even affect y'all. But Rock already know if Hitter finds out, he's not going to be too happy about any of this on top of him finding out old boy was down there getting interrogated. Seven wanted to know what was going on, so he explains how he tried to help somebody out by putting them in the game, but dudes started stealing from them. Hitter found out and wanted to take old boy out, but Rock stopped him, and Hitter told him to handle it. So what Rock decides to do is tell old boy to leave town for a minute until things cool off, but of course that didn't happen. He gets locked up but released the same day, so they feel like he did some snitching. So now they have to put the business on hold, but putting the business on hold stops the money. So Seven says maybe they could help, but I'm trying to figure out why does she feel like she can offer Rock some help when she not even the brains of the operation. This is gonna get messy and I can feel it. Rock don't understand how they can help if he already told her the cards are hot right now. And Seven says we don't use cards, we use tap. And he's like, how? Like, how do y'all do that? And of course she don't know. So she tells him that she's gonna ask Max to talk to Sean. But Rock, he don't know how that's gonna play out because Sean and Hilda, they have history. So the next morning, Seven goes into Maxine's room and tells her about the situation going on with Rock and his crew. She tells Max that this might be their opportunity to expand the business by selling Rock and his crew the phones at a premium, and that will keep the girls from going down. That way, Seven and Nana can be replaced because Hilda has a lot of runners under him. Maxine says it sounds very tempting, but they got to make sure nothing falls back on them. And Hilda and his crew, things just ain't right with them right now. They got a lot of heat on them. You never know who they talking to. And then the doorbell rings, and both of them are looking at each other like, were you expecting somebody? So Seven goes to the door, but it's only Nana. And Nana asks Seven if she told Max about last night. So they tell her about Tiffany doing too much, from getting into it with the bartenders and fighting and stuff. But Seven didn't tell her about Tiffany having a card. So Nana says the reason why I came over, it has to do with the numbers. So she says the numbers are only exclusive to one person, correct? And Max says correct. So Nana says when she went to make a $3K purchase on a $5K card, the money wasn't there. Max thought that was strange, so she checked the spreadsheet, and sure enough, the money wasn't there. She saw 2 transactions that were made before she gave Nana the new numbers, but she brushed it off as a mistake, and Seven was looking at her like, Max don't make number mistakes. Max doesn't want them to be worried about it, but I feel like they need to be looking into Tiffany. Then we see Rock meet up with Hilda. He tells Hilda about meeting up with Seven and her telling him about Sean being back in the game, and that her and the girls are working for him with a whole new wave and a whole new system. He tells him about them using tap to pay versus cards. Hilda was like, we don't know how to do that, but Rock says at least we can get some preloaded phones from them. But Hilda don't want to be working for no Sean. Rock wants Hilda to get out of his emotions and get back to the money. Hilda says Sean has to sit down with him face to face so he'll know everything is real and the numbers are right. So over at the courthouse, Officer Davis catches Officer West as she's coming out of the courthouse, and he lets her know about a fight that went down over at the club, and when the attacker got arrested, she had a card on her that didn't belong to her. So he gave the card to West along with the bother girl's number so she can get more information from her. And over at the apartment, Seven gets a message from Rock that he's about to pull up. Rock gets there and the ladies know that they're in. No, Rock gets there and lets the ladies know that they're in, but Hilda wants to meet with Sean first to make sure everything's good. So now Max is looking crazy. So she tells Rock that Sean wants everything to go through her because he don't want to be involved with anything. So they're trying to convince Max to talk to Sean. So now she's narrating, talked about how she gonna pull this mess off because she knows Sean gonna be mad. But hey, as she says, sometimes you gotta roll the dice. Officer West meets up with the bother girl Bianca. She's the girl that got jumped by Tiffany. Bianca says she don't know the girl like that, but she know her from around the way. But when everything went down, she heard her friends hollering out Tiffany, so she assuming that's her name. And she remembers seeing her before at the T-Mobile store. Now Tiffany is over at the barbershop running her mouth about how their section was shutting stuff down, buying up everything. Then Max pulls up on it and she tells her that she stopped by the store and they said she ain't been there for at least a week. So she tells Max that she's gonna go back to work tomorrow. And Max let her know that she's not trying to be a mama, but one mess up will bring everybody down. Tiffany says, you're right, you're not my mama. Max didn't let it faze her. She just said, you know what, I might be tripping, you know that? I was just trying to, check up on you, make sure you're good. And then Max leaves. But in her narration, she says, in chess, every move can't be an attack. Some moves are to fill out your opponent. Some moves are to set up bigger moves. Those who usually play with emotions are weak. A player's ego is the reason most people lose before they even play the game. Max meets up with Sean and she tells him that they're about to move the operation over to wholesale and their first clients will be Hilda and his crew, and that could triple their cash flow but he won't take a meeting unless Sean is there. So she tells him that she kind of embellished a little bit by telling Hilda that Sean was the face of the operation, but the only reason she did it was because she knew he wouldn't go for it if he knew that ladies were running things. And Sean is not happy about what she just said, because he's like, he can't understand how somebody so smart could be so stupid. He asked her if she knew what would happen if the whole thing went left. He'd get locked up for 10 years for something he had absolutely nothing to do with. She said she thought about all of that, but she is just trying to make things better for everybody. But Sean doesn't see it like that. He feels like she lives in this fantasy world of making things good for everybody, but she's actually putting everybody she loves in harm's way. And he feels like something is gonna go wrong. He says stuff sounds good till it's not. So he says he's not gonna help her. She begs him, but he leaves her sitting there at that chess table. So she says she's just gonna have to boss up, and if Hilda doesn't want to team up with them, then oh well. So Officer West catches Tiffany on her way home, and she told her that she needs to come down to the precinct because the girl she attacked wants to press charges, and she wants to hear her side of the situation. Then Max, she meets up with Rock and Hilda, but Hilda wants to talk to Sean and Sean only. So Hilda tells her with all disrespect, he doesn't do business with bees. And Max stepped to him with a hand on her piece and asked him who did he think he was talking to. Then you see somebody walking up, and it's Sean. Of course, Hilda feels away, talking about what you trying to do, making interest. And he was like, man, what's the issue? Hilda says, ain't no issue. It's just that when I'm told something, that's what I expect. I mean, ain't that what you taught us, Sean, before you left us high and dry? But it's all good. Hilda said he stood 10 toes down on business and handled it like a man. And Sean was like, it can't be nothing but all good because I actually did y'all a favor by leaving, because if I didn't, you'll be talking to me behind a clear glass window. So Hilda, he starts negotiating the business dealing, but Sean and Max look at each other and they walk off because ain't no negotiate. It's gonna be 10K a unit, lose your crew, build from scratch, because you got rats in your circle, and you know rats don't travel alone. So Hilda agrees, and Max tells him that Rock will get him the product in the morning. When Max and Sean walk off, Hilda tells Rock that he's going to play their game for a minute until he figures out how they're doing it, and once he figures it out, he's going to take over and take them out. Sean tells Max not to trust Hilda because he said yes too fast, and it wasn't a desperate yes, so that means Hilda has a motive. Then Max thought about it and asked Sean how did he even know where she was, and he says, with all the money you're making, yet you're still on my phone plan, so I had to find my iPhone. She said, let me call the girls so we can meet up. Then she thought about it. No, I ain't gonna call them. Let me find their iPhones. Sean says, they know you can do that. She said no. But when she looked through Find My iPhone, she see that Tiffany is at the precinct. Then Max is narrating, and she says that business took off. 7 moved up to managing the workers. But when things are going right, you should be worried that something is about to go left. Then you see Hilda ride down the street, and he spots old boy who he stuck in the hand. Dude goes inside this corner store. When he comes out, Hilda was like, surprise, surprise, you're a hard man to find. So dude took off running. He caught up with him and hit him with his car. He walks up on him and he took him out. But in the midst of dude trying to get away, he scratched Hilda on the arm. But Hilda did what he said he was going to do. He started searching his pockets. He found a card. Then he pulled up on Rock at the park, and he tells him to get in. He passes him the card that he took from dude, and he let him know what he just did. Rock told him that was reckless. He talking about, I'm a professional. Bro, how are you a professional? And you did it in broad daylight on the city street and left the body. So then you see Wes at the crime scene. So we finally figure out dude's name is Pop. Davis pulls up because he is the one who told Wes about it. Davis said it looked like a robbery, but she said she doubted it. She interrogated him, but he didn't snitch. So she let him go because she knew if folks knew he was taken in but got out that fast, they would for sure think he snitched, and whoever she was looking for would come looking for him. David said they were able to find blood under his nails, and they found fingerprints, and those are being tested. And when everything comes back, he's gonna let her know that they can get to the bottom of all of this. So over at Rock's house, he's sitting over there stressing. Seven asks if he wanted her to make him a drink. He says yes, but as she goes to grab the clothes off of the bed, the card that Hilda took off of Pop fell out of his pocket, and she looking at it, she asked him like, what is this? So he tells Seven about Hilda taking out Pop, and he gave Rock that card, and it was Officer West's card. She says, I know you ain't no snitch, but you gotta tell Max, cause you don't want to get locked up for another ninja's BS. Then you see Nana and Tiffany hanging out, and Officer West pulls up on her like out of the blue, and she was like, what's up, Tiff? I've been calling you. Have you been dodging me or something? So she tries to act like her and Tiffany are old friends, but Tiffany plays it off. She says, yeah, I'm gonna get up with you. So West leaves and tells Tiffany, hey, hit me up. Seven calls Max, and Rock tells Max that Hilda took out Pop. And then Seven shows her the card from Officer West. Max says all of them need to meet up because things are getting tricky. Then you see this SWAT team pull up and raid some spot, only to find out at the meeting that it was Hilda's spot. They lost everything, and he trying to blame Max. But Max was looking like, so you just not telling me all of this? And she was like, so it was my fault that y'all decided to keep your stash in the trap? So she continues and says that somebody has been talking to the police, but nobody spoke up. So she says, since don't nobody want to confess, I'm going to shut the business down. Hilda gets mad and he leaves. Max tells Seven that they are about to bounce. And Seven was like, girl, this going to mess up business for us too. And she said, no, it's not. It's just going to let us see who we need to see. Talking about between Nana, Tiffany, and Rock. Wes and Davis meet up, and he thanks her for the tip on the raid. So she says she just got the green light to pick her up, and he's like, who's her? She tells him to come with her and she'll fill him in. So you hear Max say, when your back is against the wall, you get desperate. You resort back to what you know. So she said Nana went back to working at the bar. Seven went back to doing hair. But Tiffany couldn't let the game go. She kept stealing identities from T-Mobile. Then you see Wes walking to T-Mobile and she arrests Tiffany. Hilda also got arrested on RICO charges. Max went down to the jail to talk to Tiffany. Tiffany tells Max if she doesn't get her out of jail, she's going to tell him everything about her. And Max was like, girl, you don't take accountability for nothing. You're the one who got me fired from T-Mobile. It took me a minute to figure it out, but you were the only one with my login. And all of those accounts that was created, you created them on the days I wasn't even there. And you sat there while I got fired and didn't say anything, knowing that I could have gotten arrested. And not only that, you been scamming. And after I met Hilda, it clicked. And that made me remember seeing him talking to you at T-Mobile. Tiffany says she wasn't talking to the feds, but Max let her know that Nana told her about Wes pulling up on them when they were out having drinks that day. So magically, Wes gets a tip about this little scam, and you're sitting here looking goofy. Checkmate. At the end, you hear Max say, the exit plan is just as important as the plan itself. She says she knew if things went left, Tiffany's greed will be all the insurance she needed. And since they say keep your enemies close, Max made sure she had Tiffany handling everything. And plus her ego was so big, she didn't even realize she was being set up the whole time. Her digital footprint was all over the whole operation. And Hilda was just as much a liability, so she tipped West off about his stash. Similar to chess, if it's you versus me, you gotta go. And now that the liabilities are out of the way, she opened the business back up, made Rock the boss because he trusted her, and then that made their operation even bigger because Rock should have been the boss anyway over there with Hilda them. And that was the end of the movie. Y'all get down in the comments, tell me what you think. Go on over there to the REMY Network and check it out. It's free. I liked it. Go check it out for yourself and let me know what you think. And I'll talk to y'all later.